Hello once again, Minikea, and welcome to another FIFA 15 career mode series where I take Swansea City from the mid-table slums to hopefully European domination, just like I do with QPR, apart from it's different because they're obviously relegation battles. Um, and this is obviously different from QPR one, as I'm doing this in post-commentary rather than first-person commentary, which is how I do the QPR one, and just trying to test the waters a little bit with the post commentary and the first person commentary, to see which one was better. Maybe FIFA 16. Try and get my words out there. Um, this is it's easier to edit with the post commentary, obviously, because you don't have to go through the whole voice over thing. But it's obviously trying to see what works and what doesn't work, and just making sure that everything's a-okay for FIFA 16 and as perfect as it possibly can be. So hopefully I can get my my career modes off and running on the right track rather than just getting them off and running. As you see here, we they want us to get to the last 16 stage of the board. They want us to look for a goalkeeper, and they want us to finish mid-table, and that's achievable. I think all of our objectives are fair enough for the budget we have. You'll see in a minute, but we'll go through a squad report, and as you can see, it's a good-looking squad. There's some good players in there, obviously, some players that need replacing. There's two goalkeepers, there's mostly two players for each position, so there isn't much room to go buy players like maybe I want to. As you see here, you've got three players in the right back slot and two that are over the rating of 70, and four centre backs that are good, five centre backs if you count Cock, but I don't doubt I'll be using him much. Two left backs, maybe need another left back. Obviously, he's 20 years age, only 57 rated, he might not get there. You've got Jack Cork at CDM, and you've got Nathan Dyer, John Joe Shelby, Tom Carroll, and Ki Sung Young, Leon Britton, that can all play football in the CM spots there. Wayne Routledge left mid, Sigurdsson. Then you've got Nelson Oliveira, Emenez, Gomes, and Loveridge, but don't think he's going to play either. Michu obviously out on loan. And then Rory Donnelly and Jefferson Montero, and another young player. You can see here go and eventually put some players on the wage list, on the loan list, and the transfer list. Just maybe so squeeze out some wage budgets, squeeze that wage budget up a little bit. As you can see in that top corner just there, if Carl Bartley moves his head, you'll see it there. It's just over 12.5 million, and with a 90k wage budget, so it's okay. Mid-table team obviously, so not really any drastic changes. Also, we have a pretty full squad, as you can see in the total in that players in squad on the right hand side there. You'll see that it says 40 out of 42, so it means we can only get 40 players in. I wish we can only get 2 players in if we don't sell anyone, or so. It's a bit of a tight squeeze. The club is obviously a bit tight. There will obviously, maybe in January, be more players leaving the club as I decide, well, I don't think I really want him at this club. I fight myself with whether to get rid of Neil Taylor at left back, as you see there, but I decide not to. And then you see a bit of a better understanding of the wage budget there, and the transfer budget. It's 12.8 million with 90k wage budget, so that's not too bad. And as you see here, I go to my global networks and just look here at James Milner as a right midfielder. I do need a right mid. I also need a left back and a goalkeeper. Obviously that's 3 positions instead of 2 that I'm allocated, or 2 that I'm allowed to bring if a player doesn't leave. And so I decide to just just search for players on, not only on the global network, but also in just normal the players that I want to bring in, and the players that my scouts want to bring in. As you see here, Man City come back 6.5 million for James Milner. I go quite a lot lower than that. I go 2 million because I like to go low, and obviously that'll eat up my 90k wage budget if I do sign him up. So it's a bit of a tough one here. We have Marcus Bettinelli. I put in an inquiry for. I do actually decide against trying to sign them and just look. Tell my scout to go scout both him and Julian Speroni, and He come back a couple of days later, and as a side, well, they don't really look good enough for me. I don't think they're going to be good enough for me. Julian Speroni is obviously 35, and that's about the same age as what Tremel is, and Bettinelli, while he is only 22, when you hit that 22 mark, I prefer them to be over 70 rated. He, I think, just hits it under with 66. As you see, I go back into my scout report and just look at a couple of players, and I do eventually inquire about Serge Gnabry, and I think that was it from that pool of players that my scout found for me in England. But yeah, so I need a right mid, a left mid, left back, left mid, left back. As you see there, Manchester City rejects my offer, so I decide, well, I won't go for him. I have Serge Gnabry, clearly cheaper and obviously a better option, not only on wages but on my transfer budget, so I can bring in the right players. So I go back into my scout report and look maybe for a right mid from abroad, from Germany. I think this was scouted in. As you say, that I go for inquire about Tin Jedfaj. I think that's his name. I may have butchered it. I'm not too sure. Germans have weird names, really weird names. Timo Werner I also go for and inquire about. He's an exciting prospect, left midfielder. And I also think go back into my goalkeeping scout report. Here we are, I do, and I scout Zieler, Machete and Adler, the 3 goalkeepers that I scout. They do eventually come back to me and tell me that they do come back, and I don't think I go for any. I think I go for 2 of them. And here we are. We have Andre Pirlo, and I think, you know what, that beard could really do a thing in our midfield, and him and Jonjo Shelvey together would absolutely destroy the Premier League. So and then as you see there, Julian Speroni 75 rated, so not really anything better than Fabianski, not anything too much better than what we have our second in command goalkeeper. And as you see there, I do get offers, inquiries back about Rene Adler. I do put in a bid for 5 million. I think I do put in a bid for Zieler, or I think I ignore it because it's too much for a goalkeeper. 15 million, really, isn't it? So I decide against that. But as you see here, I go for 2 left backs from the Championship, 2 young left backs from the Championship. The first one I go for is Jordan Abita, and the second one is Tyrone Mings, and they both come back pretty cheap. As you see there, we do have Tyrone Mings has come back as we put in a bid for Timo Werner from Stuttgart, and Federico Marchetti, and we look at Andre Pirlo as well and think, well, him and Jonjo Shelvey would absolutely destroy the Premier League, and I don't want to go that far yet. I don't want to win the Premier League just yet. I want to build up my squad first before I absolutely destroy the Premier League. So I decided against signing Andre Pirlo and sticking him next to Jonjo Shelvey. As you see, I put a 1.2 million bid in for Tyrone Mings. A bit cheeky of me, but it has to be done. And Lazio come back, Federico Marchetti, they do come back for 10 million, and I say 4.5, and they do obviously reject that and tell me to go stick it where the sun don't shine. But as you see here, my I think agent telling me that I have international management offers, and obviously I'm very done well to get a job at Swansea, so he'll look for an international job for me. But I'm not interested. I tell him to go do one, and he gets really annoyed about that, as I put in a 2.5 million bid for Serge Gnabry instead of the 4.9 million that Arsenal now want, as well as also inquiring about Patrick Roberts, who is too young, I think, to leave. I think he's only just come up through the academy, and Fulham don't want to sell him again, so that's fine. I'll let that be. As you see, I put in it, I think up it to 6.5 in the end, 6.4. Yeah, 6.4. I think I was going to go 6.5, but I went cheekily at 6.4. They still reject that. They don't come back for that. And as you see, Ipswich and Stuttgart reject my offer for Tyrone Mings and Timo Werner respectively. So I do decide I'll put in a couple of more pounds, a couple of more 100k for Tyrone Mings, see if they accept that. Reading do reject my offer for Abita, however, won 1.7 million, and Lazio come back with Federico Marchetti. I put him up, I think, 5.5 million. See how Lazio take that, and then I do also counter bid for Jordan Abita and go just under halfway for what they value him at. As you see here, Marcus Bettinelli, like I said, is 66 rated, so not very someone I want to go for. But Arsenal do accept my transfer offer, and it's great. I feel like I've got Serge Gnabry. There is a little hinge in this transfer that really does bug me, and it will come up in a minute, but it bugs me a lot. This transfer does, because there's something that's not quite right. As you see, I put 7.5 million bid in for Rennie Adler and let Oliver Davis go out on loan to League 1 to Doncaster Rovers for a season. So he's off to Doncaster, and Lazio again say no, we want 7.5 million. So I go 6.1 and leave it there. I think that was the highest I was going to go, or 6.5 was the highest I was going to go. But Reading decide no, I can't have that. But Tyrone Mings and Ipswich Town do accept my offer for 1.5 million. So that's all good. I do give them the offer. But here we go, and this confused me. Really, I was looking at it, I was going 25k. I swear he didn't have 25k, and he actually didn't. He had 15k. Originally, his salary was 15k. He still had 4 years. He was still a surplus requirements player, and that was that. And I didn't quite understand why he'd said, "Oh, I want 25k" instead, and his wage budget for Arsenal had gone up. But as you see here, I do get Sergio Marchetti. Lazio do accept an offer, so I decide I'll give him everything he wants. I'll give him a crucial first-team player. He obviously plays at Lazio, so it's going to be difficult for me to get him in the first place. So as you see here, Serge Gnabry again comes back, says I want 25k. I go, sod it. I didn't even know why you've gone up 10k from the last time I spoke to you, but there we go. I'll just give you 10k extra, I suppose. Tyrone Mings does decline, but that's because he wants to know what his squad role is, not because he thinks Swansea are absolute shite. So I say, well, I'll give you squad rotation, 5 years. He will play in the odd Capital One Cup game, and obviously the odd FA Cup game, as you see there. Sergio Marchetti rejects my offer. He thinks he's better than the club, and I don't want someone like that in my club. I want someone who's determined, someone who wants to play for the club. But as you see here, he says, I'm a top player at my current club and don't feel this move to Swansea in Wales will suit me, which is fair enough. Lazio, Wales, it's a long distance to travel and a much bigger change. So I said, Sodja, I'll go for Roman Weinfeller. He'll definitely sign for me if Sergio Marchetti didn't. I'd also look at Morgan DeSantis or something like that. I think he's retiring, obviously, and then I do go for Tim Krul and Asmir Begovic, and it is eventually Tim Krul that seems the one that I could get the most and easiest out of this slot. Obviously, he does play for Newcastle. Swansea, I'd argue, were a step up from Newcastle, so he may not have that contingency of not wanting to leave. But I do put in a bid for Roman Weinfeller. Asmir Begovic, 22.5 million. I don't even look at that. I don't even bother with that, because there's no chance I'm going with someone so deluded as that. But you see here, I do put in a bid of, I believe, £6.4 million for Tim Krul of Newcastle United, the Dutch goalkeeper. And I also go in for Capino from SCV Mainz, and he's just signed, so it's very unlikely that I could get him. So I go to Schalke. I bid for 2 of their goalkeepers. I inquire about Farman, I think, first, and then a young goalkeeper who has a lot of potential. I think he's only 18. Timo Wellenruthier, I think that's how you say his name. Again, I might have butchered it, but here we are. Tyrone Mings and Serge Gnabry both accept their contract offers, and I accept them to the club and welcome them with massive open arms. 2 young players that will be very good for the squad that I'm building, and good players in the first season to maybe be understudies to the players I currently have that are in my first team. As you see here, I do get inquiries back, but I can't. I get confused as to why I can't bid for them, but obviously I realise later on that actually my squad is full. So I just want to ask a question at the end of this episode. Do you prefer the QPR format over this one, or do you prefer the post-commentary kind of style? Me personally, I prefer the post-commentary, but it isn't down to me. I'd also like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.